Time machine. Uncle Rustam claimed that he had invented a time machine. This secret was shared only with me. Hence, when he invited me to grandfather's house for the summer vacation, I was elated. So, next Sunday, I was in Phulpur, a small town in Uttar Pradesh. Uncle Rustam was delighted to see me. Soon, I was with him in his laboratory. I looked in awe at all the gadgets kept there, especially the red and yellow toy car in the center. "That's the time machine I invented. Would you like a ride on it?" Uncle Rustam's voice sounded from behind me. I couldn't believe my ears. "When and where shall we go?" he asked me. Something clicked. I longed to see my strict father as a child. Could we, I stammered, "go into the year maybe between 1980 to 1985? Address is grandfather's house." "Of course," said Uncle Rustam, and pressed the buttons 1980. Whoosh! Bang! Vroom! Off we went. Everything was in a whirl. In a minute, everything was still. We were in the courtyard of the house. The house looked just the same, except that it was freshly painted. I watched in amazement as two small-sized versions, one of my father and the other of my uncle, emerged from the house. Uncle Rustam looked at me and winked. He said, "That's your father and me. Just watch the fun." We relaxed and watched. No one seemed to hear or see us. "Russi, do you know something?" asked the boy who was my father in an excited tone. "The storeroom in the old yard is open, and there is a big drum inside." Uncle and father walked into the storeroom, and unknown to both, we also walked in. Uncle leaned over the drum and then looked up. His eyes gleamed. "The drum is half full of whitewash the workers left behind." Father and uncle picked up the brushes lying near the drum and started whitewashing the walls. "Aren't you two messing up the walls?" I asked Uncle Rustam. Uncle Rustam laughed. "Just watch your father, up to mischief as a child." "I'll paint a ship on the floor," said my father in excitement. "I shall paint the waves," added uncle. "You can paint a beach on one side too," suggested my father. "With coconut trees," added Uncle Rustam. The boys were so excited that they did not notice a tall, stern man enter the storeroom. He was my grandfather. He did not seem pleased with the artwork. "Who did that?" he asked loudly. Even I was scared. The boys froze. They could not get out a single word of explanation. Their brushes fell from their hands with a thud. Suddenly, my grandfather picked up the brushes and handed them to the two boys, saying, "Since you are so fond of painting, I suggest you whitewash the entire storeroom, and once you finish, I will show you some more walls." Saying this, grandfather walked away. My uncle started crying. My father, however, stood silent. He tried to look as if nothing had happened. Suddenly, somewhere in the background, we, both uncle and me, heard a siren, and the car started rotating. "Oh!" said uncle as he tumbled out of the car. "Why did you return so soon? We were really having fun," I said. "Time over," said uncle, and locked the car. We walked out of the laboratory. As we entered the hall, we heard the sounds of a car noisily turning into the gate. "That's my father," I shouted. "He must have come to meet me." Uncle ran to greet father. Soon we were having tea and talking and laughing. Suddenly, without thinking, I said, "Father, I like the ship you painted on the floor." "Ship? Painted? What are you talking about?" asked my father in surprise. "Oh, it's nothing," said my uncle, winking at me. I began to get a feeling that this vacation was going to be a lot of fun.